All right, guys. So I want to try to explain some of these weird geometry questions that I know are going to pop up in 2.3 homework. The weirdest one that should help you with the others as well is finding the area and perimeter of this sort of strange abnormal shape. First of all, perimeter is a fancy way to say we want to know the distance around the entire shape. So we're literally going to add up every single side that we have. But I notice I don't have a number for this side here, and I don't have a number for this side here. So before I can do the perimeter for this problem, I need to get that red and blue section. I'm going to explain the thinking with this easier whole number example, and then we'll go back to the decimals. But like I just said, I can't get the perimeter until I know what is the length of this red section and this blue section. And we can use all of the information to the side to get that information. First, let's think about the red section. This red section is really close to this 10. The 10 goes all the way down, which means that this all the way down would technically be 10. But I don't want to include this part that's inside the shape. The perimeter is just on the outside. So how do I get rid of this section here? Well, I know that section is the same as the number 2. So if I do 10, which is this whole red section, minus 2, that's going to get me my red section up here of 8. So in our decimal problem, if this entire thing over here is 8.7, and I just want to get this part, I need to go subtract 8.7 minus 2.6 to get that red section. Sorry, to get that red section, I'm going to take my 8.7 minus that 2.6. And that's going to get me the red section. Okay. Just like I did over here, 10 minus 2 got me that smaller thing of 8, because 8 plus 2 would be the same thing as that 10 now. Now we're going to do very similar thinking to get our blue section here. I know the entire distance down here is 12. The entire distance down there is 12, but I only want to get this part. So how do I get rid of this little section here? Oh, that's the same thing as that 3. So I can do 12 minus 3 up there, and now I can get that as a 9. And now I can add up 10 plus 3 plus 8 plus 9 plus 2 plus 12, because the perimeter just is adding up the distance around the entire shape. Okay. So then over here, if I wanted to get the blue section, sorry, let me clean this up a little bit. So now to get the blue section here, I'm going to take, I know the entire thing down there is 11.4, and I can subtract 3.3 to get this little section right there. Okay, here, and I'll leave this in green. Okay. In order to get the area, we had to start the same way. I needed to find that this section was 8 and that this section was 9. I still needed to fill in those little pieces. So no matter if I'm finding the area or perimeter, I started the problem by finding this missing section and that blue missing section over there, okay? So now in order to find the area, if we can chop this into 2 rectangles, and then we can find the area of those rectangles, and then we can add them up. So I'm going to divide this shape into 2 rectangles, okay? This bottom rectangle here, and this smaller one right up here. Now to get the area down here that I'm going to shade in green, I need to know what is the base times the height. And here the entire base is 12, my height is 2. So 12 times 2 is 24. The area of that green spot is 24. Now I need to go find what is the area of this yellow section that I'm shading. Now, if you notice, this yellow section, I have to decide, am I going to use 10 or 8? 10 goes all the way down also into this green area, so that's why this 8 is going to be really useful. I can do this 8 times 3 for that yellow section. And 8 times 3 just happens to also be 24. And now I can add what is my yellow section plus my green section. And my area for this problem would be 48. I'm now going to apply that thinking to the actual decimal question, okay? So the first thing I need to do for perimeter or area is I need to find my missing section, which I'm going to label in red there, and I'm going to label in blue there. To get this red section, oops, let me put my pen back in red. To get this red section, I know the entire distance is 8.7, but I need to get rid of this little extra part in there, which I know is 2.6. So I can do 8.7 minus 2.6 over here. 7 minus 6 is 1, 8 minus 2 is 6. So I know my little red section over there that I wanted to find is 6.1. And now I need to find the blue section. I know the entire distance down here is 11.4, but I don't want to include this part that's also included in that 11.4. So that's where I can go subtract out that 3.3 up there. 4 minus 3 is 1. 1 minus 3 I need to borrow. 11 minus 3 is 8. So my section there is 8.1. So to get the perimeter of this problem, I would do 8.7 plus 3.3 plus 6.1 plus 8.1 plus 2.6 plus 11.4. But I couldn't do any of that until I got that missing 6.1 and the missing 8.1. And now to find the area, I still needed to find some of those smaller numbers. I'm going to chop up my shape into two perfect rectangles. And I first want to find the area of this rectangle down here in green. What is the base of that rectangle? 11.4 times the height of 2.6. And you're going to do that and get some answer. And now we need to go find the area of this one right here. But I don't want to include any of that green part that I already did. So what are the two sides of that yellow rectangle? Well, that's going to be that 6.1 and 3.3. So I'm going to do 6.1 times 3.3 over here. I'm going to get some answer, and then I need to add those together for my actual total area.